I didn't know what was wrong with me at the time. I was tired, constantly tired. At the beginning, my job was varied, challenging and rewarding. I was involved in planning and managing catering and events for a large international company. Unfortunately, over time, responsibilities were taken away from me, to the point where my job was moving heavy catering or stock from one floor to another. The lift at the building rarely worked. When it didn't, on an average day, I could be walking up and down 2,000 stairs. My job became dull. It didn't require using my brain at all. I was becoming a robot at work, taking orders and acting without hesitation. I began to hate my job. I informed my manager that I was getting weaker, that my body couldn't take it anymore, either physically or mentally. But they seemed to care about results, not people. At the time, no one noticed I was ill, especially not me. However, looking back, I realized my illness has always been with me. It was at this point in my life where, under a high volume of stress and exhaustion, my mind and my body could not hide how I felt anymore, and I tipped over the edge. I couldn't make any constructive decisions. I felt worthless. I couldn't smile anymore. I was trapped in a dark corner and couldn't move. At night, I would go home and cry myself to sleep. Day by day, I was losing more and more energy. Then it happened. One morning I tried to get out of bed, but nothing would move. I felt a tiredness I have never felt before. Things that were part of my routine, like showering in the morning, required so much energy that I needed to rest afterwards. I thought I just needed a couple of days rest and I would be back on my feet. A couple of days turned into 5, into a week, 2 weeks, then a month. Every day I woke up feeling no better. I realized I needed help. After seeing numerous specialists and having many tests, I was diagnosed with severe anxiety, depression and panic disorder, brought on by high stress and extreme exhaustion. Then I was advised to take time off to recuperate. Putting a name to my illness made me feel relieved and scared at the same time. The relief was finally knowing what was wrong with me. I was scared because all of the questions I had in my head. What happens now? Will I ever work again? Over the following months, I slowly regained energy. It was then my doctor said I could arrange a gradual reintroduction to work. I contacted my manager and we set a date to go in. And well, on a day, I was informed that my position has been made redundant. Just like that, I had no job. My future had turned to ash. I started to isolate myself. I couldn't use the bus or tube. I struggled to leave my flat as I was getting panic attacks. I was sitting at home in my tracksuit because there was no point in trying. There was no point in anything. How am I going to pay my bills? How am I going to explain the gap in my CV? My life started to change for better when I was introduced to Mosaic Clubhouse. What helped me was that I felt safe and valued. My support worker wasn't pushing me, I was changing at my own pace, towards my own goals, not towards goals he thought were good for me. That gave me freedom and, most importantly, security. I didn't have to rush. I could take steps I was ready to take. I'm treated as an equal person, working side by side with members of staff running the organization.
The Clubhouse model is a worldwide model that has been going since 1948. There are over 300 clubhouses in 34 countries, and basically the Clubhouse values are all about understanding that people living with serious mental health conditions have the same hopes and dreams as everyone else and have the same capacity as everyone else to achieve recovery and to achieve their hopes and dreams. The way that that's done is really, really simple, in that we are deliberately understaffed in every clubhouse throughout the world, so that every single thing we need to do to run the business, we need to engage the talents and strengths of our members.
So initially, Annette was really shy and quite anxious about coming here. She didn't really know what to expect. I did reassure her quite a lot and gave her a lot of prompting, because one of the things we do in induction is look at people's goals. So we look at a short-term goal and a long-term goal. And part of Annetta's goals were to support people. So she was really focused into getting into work, but she was really quite shy. So we started off by getting her to work in the business and administration unit, so she could get a bit of confidence, and then eventually we put her to do information governance. She finished that and she started to work in the information hub, and she's been brilliant ever since.
Clubhouses offer a graduated journey into paid work, and for many people the next stage is a TEP, Transitional Employment Placement, a type of supported employment which is unique to clubhouses and which offers as a right of membership the opportunity for everyone to do paid work. One day I had lunch with Annetta, and during our conversation it became clear that she might well benefit from a TEP with our then most recent employment partner, Public Health England.
Why we're talking to you today is how we got involved with Mosaic and the transitional employment placements that they offer. Our Chief Executive, Duncan Selby, actually came to visit the Clubhouse in Brixton and was blown away with the work that they were doing. He actually came back to a senior management committee meeting and said, this is something I want to get involved in. HR were drafted in, and my job with diversity and inclusion, sitting in with my remit, we looked at how we could get going with this. So myself as a diversity expert feeding into the organisation, we can actually benefit from people's real life experiences to feed a great deal of the work we're doing. On another front, it encourages our staff that actually talent can be found from every corner of the earth, and actually sometimes our straightforward recruitment methods bring in the same old people and the same old talent, and we actually want to diversify the people that we're bringing in and actually reach a bit wider. And Mosaic has been an incredible example of bringing people in that wouldn't necessarily make it through the usual recruitment process because of some of the access issues that they might encounter.
I think one of the things that's noticeable when both placements have joined is that when they've started, they've been, you know, they haven't said much to the team, and they've been kind of shy and not overly confident. And what we've seen from our placements over the coming months that they've worked for us is that they've grown and they've developed as people. And I think that in itself is a benefit, because it's so rewarding for them, and it's so rewarding for us to see that transition.
Yeah.
Within strategy, we have had a number of placements from the Mosaic organisation. The most recent is Annetta.
On my first days at work as Transitional Employment Placement at Public Health England, I was scared. I wanted to hide under the table, with the hope that no one was going to speak to me. I was scared, I was stressed, I would fail at the start if I was left by myself. The team I joined was very welcoming and supportive, but my illness unfortunately was holding me back. But with the constant help of support worker, I was given so much confidence and security that I managed to overcome my illness to the point where now, 6 months later, I speak to people, I run independent projects and give presentations at team meetings.
She has brought so much to our team. She gives invaluable support. Her skill set is enormous and varied, and she is a wonderful asset to our team.
I think the kind of key thing that I wanted to mention is that I found valuable her insight into how mental health can affect your work and vice versa, so how your work can affect your mental health. And she's brought a lot of insight into the team, the way the team works. We now have mental health first aiders in the team that we didn't have before. and she's been able to present, including on policy issues, with her personal point of view. So that's been really enriching.
I've really noticed Annetta's confidence grow since she joined us, and over the time she's been volunteering to take on more responsibilities and more is able to deal with tasks more on her own initiative. Recently she completed training to learn how to use our procurement systems, which is great because it means that she's able to take over from me on purchasing equipment for the directorate. Anetta's made a real impact to our directorate, and her enthusiasm and positive attitude have made her a really important part of the team. I can't recommend a Mosaic placement highly enough for any organisation.
I have a lovely family. They helped me massively. My daughter took care of me when I was very unwell. I do recognize I'm fortunate to have all this support. Unfortunately, not everyone is so lucky. And there is another amazing thing Mosaic Clubhouse does for the members. On Christmas Day, support workers and members organize Christmas dinner for members who do not have families around, who are lonely. I involved myself last year and helped to host this event. I must say that this was a pleasure and fun to work and make others happy. They didn't have to spend this special day alone. Mosaic Clubhouse is more than a place people can work on their life goals, but it is a place where they can find friends, spend time surrounded by like-minded people. I'm not out of the woods yet, I know. I still need medication, I still need therapy, and there is still a lot of work ahead of me. But I'm definitely more optimistic about the future. Taking part in Transitional employment program helped me boost my confidence. It gave me the opportunity to get to know my weak sides and strengths better. It gave me the time and opportunity to recognize what I can do to stay in employment, how I can fit into the work environment, and most importantly, I have filled up the gap in my CV.